All right, let's dive into something that's, well, both incredibly powerful and surprisingly dangerous. Automating your DNS with AWS CloudFormation. I mean, it promises so much, consistency, speed, but it's got some hidden traps that can literally bring your entire infrastructure crashing down. We're going to uncover why this happens, and more importantly, how you can make sure it never happens to you.
So, let me ask you this. Could one tiny change in a CloudFormation template take down your whole app? It's a terrifying thought, right? You push what seems like a totally harmless update to a DNS record, and boom, everything's offline. And the worst part, the very automation that was supposed to make things safer is what actually caused the disaster. This isn't just some made-up scenario. It is a very real risk for anyone managing Route 53 with infrastructure as code.
And that's such a shame, because the whole promise of automation here is just huge. I mean, when you use CloudFormation, you're leaving behind that slow, clunky, error-prone world of clicking around in a console. Instead, you get a setup that's perfectly consistent, perfectly repeatable, no matter how many accounts or regions you're working with. You just describe what you want, and CloudFormation makes it happen. It's infrastructure as code at its best. But that same consistency has a dark side.
And that leads us straight to our first major pitfall. It's a little something called eventual consistency. And honestly, it's the hidden villain in this whole story. This is exactly where that perfect, repeatable automation can suddenly turn on you, especially during a rollback.
So what even is eventual consistency? Well, to put it simply, when you make a DNS change, it doesn't happen instantly everywhere on the planet. It takes time, right? It has to propagate across this huge global network of DNS servers. And what that means is, for a little while, a record you just deleted might still appear to exist from certain places on the internet. It's kind of like a DNS ghost. Now here's how that ghost can absolutely ruin your day. Imagine this scenario. You deploy a change, something goes wrong, it happens, and CloudFormation, doing its job, kicks off an automatic rollback. So it tries to recreate the old DNS record it just got rid of. But because of eventual consistency, Route 53 sees the ghost of that old record still floating around and basically says, whoa, hold on, that record already exists. And the result? You get this invalid change batch error, your rollback fails completely, and you're stuck with a totally broken DNS state. Okay. So if eventual consistency is like a hidden trap, our next problem is more of well, it's a self-inflicted wound. It's caused by the way CloudFormation itself thinks. I call this the logical ID domino effect, and it's where one single, innocent-looking change can set off a whole cascade of destruction.
And this isn't just some theory. This trap is baked right into the logic of CloudFormation. See, when you just list your DNS records in a simple array in your template, CloudFormation identifies them by their position in that list. So what happens if you insert a new record right in the middle? Well, everything below it suddenly gets a brand new identity in CloudFormation's eyes. It doesn't see it as a simple update. It sees it as delete the old thing, create a new thing.
And this table just illustrates the chaos perfectly. I mean, look at this. All we did was insert new record in the middle of the list, but check out what CloudFormation thinks we want to do. It thinks record B is now this new record, so it plans to replace it. Then it thinks record C is now the old record B, so it decides to replace that too. You thought you were adding one record, but you're actually about to take down two others and cause a serious outage.
Okay, enough with the horror stories. How do we actually stop this from happening? The good news is, with just a few key practices, you can make your DNS automation safe and really, really robust. So let's open up the Pros Playbook and go over the rules to deploy by.
So to beat eventual consistency, you have to be deliberate. First off, avoid making rapid-fire changes to the same DNS records. You got to give propagation a little time to breathe. Next, always, and I mean always, test your DNS changes in a non-production environment first. When you do deploy, keep a hawk's eye on those CloudFormation stack events. And probably most important, have a manual recovery plan ready to go just in case.
And to stop that domino effect, you just need two simple but super powerful rules. First, assign explicit, meaningful logical IDs to your DNS records so CloudFormation knows what's what. And a huge one, always append, never insert. Just add new records to the end of the list and you'll avoid all that confusion. Finally, before you ever click deploy, you must review the CloudFormation change set. It's your safety net. It will show you exactly what CloudFormation is about to do, letting you catch that potential disaster before it ever happens. But what if the worst happens? What if, despite everything, a rollback fails and your DNS is completely broken? This is where having a calm, clear, manual recovery plan is going to be your absolute best friend. Okay, so it happened. The rollback failed. Your app is down. First things first, do not panic. Your automation has let you down, but you can still fix this. Every second counts, so you need to act fast but also methodically.
Here is your 4-step emergency plan. Step 1, dig into the CloudFormation stack events and figure out exactly which records failed to be recreated. Step 2, forget CloudFormation for a second. Go straight into the Route 53 console or use the API and manually create the records you need to restore service. Get the application back online, that's priority number 1. Step 3, once the fire is out, go back and update your CloudFormation template to match the reality you just created. And finally, Step 4, deploy that corrected template. That gets your infrastructure as code back in sync with the real world so you're ready for the next change.
Of course, the best recovery plan is the one you never have to pull out. You can dramatically lower the risk by doing simple things, like scheduling DNS changes outside of your peak traffic hours, using health checks to spot problems immediately, and for really critical stuff, consider a blue-green deployment. And yeah, make sure that manual recovery plan we just talked about is actually written down and ready to go.
So as we wrap this up, I really want you to think about your own environment. Automation is supposed to make our lives easier, make our systems more reliable, but as we've seen, you gotta handle it with care. By understanding these pitfalls and adopting these pro-level practices, you can make sure your DNS automation is a source of strength, not a ticking time bomb. So, take a look at your setup. Is it built to last?